GM friends, GA, GM, GN. I'm not sure when you'll be listening to this or how this comes across. So I say that to each and every one of you. And interestingly enough, this is an episode that I've been really thinking about creating and wanting to create and kind of share and talk. But I'm not sure, something that's kind of held me back over the last many weeks, many months. And honestly, I'm not even sure if this episode ends up getting published, when I record it. But, I think, as everyone that's been on this journey with us here at NFT 365, setting out on this crazy challenge of doing a podcast episode, every day for 365 days and just this crazy world of, going all in this early adoption, kind of culture and testing things out. It's been a roller coaster. And, one of the things that I've heard, a lot from, you amazing listeners and community is that, you feel like you've been there right by my side, right? Been on this journey with me, and kind of gone through it, the ups and downs and, through the roller coaster of all the good things, and not just bull run and bear market, but, the different ways different things kind of impact us all, right? Life is, there are high highs, there are low lows. There are things that, I expected to happen on this journey. There are things that I did not expect to happen. You got to meet my daughters on a couple episodes. Got to share, personal stories and interviews. And the truth of the matter is that, this has been a hell of a lot of fun. And it's been more rewarding and more, it's kind of crazy to even explain it. It's been more rewarding, yet more trying and maybe more difficult and more sacrifice than I even expected going into this. But I know for most of my career, I kind of live from this, place of, going all in. And some might call it, my impulsiveness from the fact that I am ADHD, and I know being impulsive is something that, many of us, kind of identify with. And, and partially because, for me, it's not about chasing shiny objects or trying to get 15 minutes of fame or be the first to do something. Truthfully, it's about, being willing to listen, to learn, to grow, to try new things. And, in this Web3 space and, especially with, blockchain technology and what this all represents, this idea of decentralization, the whole concept that, together we can, really take back control, take back the idea of our data, create this creator economy where, together the rising tide lifts all boats. And I have to say, like, I believe wholeheartedly in that notion, but I also not sure if I understood the ramifications and all of the things that would go into this, just kind of this piece. And, I'm not new to early adoption culture. I'm not new to trying new things out. I've this has been most of my career, most of my life. But I also knew that, for me to do something and to believe in something, it required me to go all in. It required me to really not have any regrets, not look back and say, man, I wish I would have tried this harder. I wish I would have went bigger, or I wish I would have, been fully committed. And in a funny way, I know for so many people in my inner circle, one of the things they always said was, Brian, imagine if you had niched down. Imagine if you had just, taken that one thing and kind of focused on it and made it your life's mission and your passion and your purpose. And we accomplished that, right? We accomplished that, and we're still accomplishing that to this day. But I think there are some, tough truths in this whole journey. And I will just say, for me, part of the sacrifice, part of the, this whole journey is that not only, is being consistent at the level of doing this every day require a lot of work. And I don't think that's, a surprise, but, the research, the commitment to the space, right? The long nights of doing Twitter spaces, the research of doing, on different NFT projects, understanding new protocols. I mean, I spent 4.5 hours last night researching, learning, listening, better, understanding the new, ETH protocol that will allow us to, grow as early adopters and allow us to onboard with things like two-factor authentication and easier user experience. And I love it. I freaking love it. And I am so committed to, helping us grow and look at this space and the culture. But I also have to just be truthful and say that, a lot of this has been bootstrapped from the commitment and belief that, this will all work out in the end. And, for many people who came on the journey with, we were buying the ADHD coin, and, the last thing I expected when we launched almost 2 years ago was for the company and the brand that we are working with to, essentially pull the rug out from under us and, kind of terminate that platform. And, there's lots of lessons in that. And I know we got to sell, NFTs with our Mint 365 journey, and, I'm excited to get that collection out to the world as, this mosaic. But, truthfully, that's been a heavier lift than I ever imagined, and more consulting with legal and bringing in different developers. And, the truth of the matter is, a lot of this that, that I'm doing, a lot of this that I believe in, has really just required a level that I think we all just have to take a look at and recognize that the only way we decide what's possible and the only way we push forward is that we have to be willing to be the ones that that test boundaries, that try new things, that experiment. And the truth of the matter is that's not easy when the monetization around it is not something that is, normal or kind of fluid, and, being able to evolve and roll with the punches is everything that I love and believe in. And, many of you have bought my AI art, and, for me, the AI art is, as much an expression, as much as an opportunity to open people's eyes to what's possible from, someone that would have told you a year ago that you'd be crazy if you called me an artist. Until today, like I woke up this morning to, two of my pieces, being showcased in a metaverse gallery. And I just happened to stumble across it on an Instagram, just scrolling through my feed and seeing something that I created being kind of shown off in a metaverse gallery is kind of hard to even explain what that means. But I also just, the journey has also been with one of those things that, I believe in where we're going, and I believe in the power of this, but it also has come with the idea of without sponsorships of the podcast, without speaking gigs that are willing to pay for me to be a speaker or a host or an MC, without content collaborations that allow me to continue to do what I love, but also educate and inspire, motivate, and hopefully, amplify the good people doing good things. This is hard. And I have to be real. I'm not sure exactly what the future holds for what we're building here, because, there's lots of opportunities, I know. And I have a lot of great people in my corner that are, willing to, Brian, you should monetize this way, or Brian, you should, create this online course, or Brian, you should create, this piece here. And trust me, for me, the bigger piece of this comes down to just, being authentic, being real, but also recognizing and believing in everything that we've done. And for anyone that's been in this place before, I want you to know that you're not alone. But I also want people to realize that, making it as a content creator, especially in a new space, especially in a space, in an area where, brands want to play, but they don't know if they want to spend money, or in an area that, one day people want to spend, $40,000 on a content collaboration, and the next day they're scared because of a regulation that has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with them. But unfortunately, the powers that be are starting to get cold feet. And I just want to be very, truthful in the sense that, this isn't easy. I've been creating content as part of my brand and my business now for almost 9 years. And I understand, the different ways to make money. I understand the different ways to monetize. And I believe that we all kind of find our own way in that. But I also believe that, a lot of what, I think it looks at from the outside, people make assumptions, right? And especially in this Web3 space, like if someone has a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk, or if their profile photo is a lazy lion or a moonbird, we make the assumption that like they've made it, or they don't need our help, or they don't need a recommendation or a lifeline or help, getting a suggestion for, a client or a recommendation. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. And I'm here to ask, right, for those that are listening, right, that if brands or businesses that are looking to sponsor or collaborate on content, I'd love for you to reach out. If events, online events, and even IRL events that are looking for, keynote speaker or host or MC, I'm available, right? The beauty of what, I know for a fact is that I know I'm really damn good at what I do. And I know that I put every ounce of everything into, not only everything that I do, but, to this idea of, believing in the greater good and amplifying, those around us, and hopefully celebrating, the good people doing good things, because that's truly is my North Star. But I guess the piece of this that, is tough is that, in one corner, there are people that, make the claim or the conversation that says, why would someone want to support or listen or come on a journey with a content creator that, isn't portraying themselves as successful, as knows it all, as, that can make it all happen. Yeah, those same people talk about, relatability and trust and, keeping things, being the person that, isn't afraid to talk about mental health, that isn't afraid to talk about, struggles with, divorce or co-parenting or, medication or, the burnout. And I believe all of that is real, but I also believe that, there are risks. And I know that my level of transparency can sometimes, cause me, to sacrifice things. And maybe a little bit of it is self-deprecating. A little bit of it is self-imposed. And maybe partially that is my own work in progress that I have to do, at 41 years old is kind of recognizing that, and at the same time also knowing that, like I don't know what I don't know, and I'm okay with always being curious, and I'm okay with putting myself out there. But even for me, that's a scary thing. The amount of mornings that I've woken up wanting to create this episode just to keep it real and say that, I am open and willing to take, recommendations and calls. And, of course, I'm very blessed, to work as an advisor and consult with a couple really amazing, NFT projects, have some conversations with some really cool brands onboarding into this space. But, the truth of the matter is, there's a much bigger kind of, piece of this at play. And for me, if I'm not able, to bring in, speaking gigs or bring in sponsorship or, projects that I'm advising that are minting or that are able to scale and be able to afford, then, it's really hard. It's tough to make it in this space. It's tough to continue on, doing what I believe in. And I will say, part of this also comes down to, I hate the feeling inside of me. And this is just me keeping it real for a second. That I had multiple opportunities in the last 18 months to play within that blurred line and take money, take ETH to work with projects or brands or even collaborate with a couple content creators that at the time, I don't believe there was a glaring red flag or a reason not to do so, but I was so damn worried, and I still am, about trust and the ability to be authentic in this space. And I'm playing the long game, right? I've never been one that was willing to sacrifice or jeopardize or put my brand on the line for the short-term gains, and just knowing what that is. But the truth of the matter is, if I had done so, in many cases, that would have allowed me probably to do more things and do bigger things, and in some cases not be in the position where I'm at now. And I say all that because that feeling sucks, but I also know me at my core, and I would never have been able to do that. I know that just it's not who I am. I think anyone that's listened to a couple of these episodes know that I wear my heart on my sleeve. I believe in good people. I trust first, and I also am one that is just committed to doing what's right, and even if that means in some cases, it being the harder route. And so, with all that being said, this isn't the end. This isn't goodbye. This isn't even a pause. It's more of just a truth, right? That I right now I am actively not only looking for speaking gigs and events to host for this summer and this fall, but also brand collaborations, sponsorships with the podcast, content collaborations, and ones that can not only allow me to scale and accomplish, but the truth of the matter is so many people on our team here that listen to the podcast that many of you know by a first name basis because they've been our Discord moderator, or they've been the voice of the podcast, or they've been game night host, or they've been the person that replies to you on Twitter. Most of them have been volunteers, and most of them have believed in what we were building. And unfortunately, over the last couple of months, a lot of them have had to take other routes and other paths. And, unfortunately, we've had to scale back on some things because, although I know for a fact that none of them have stopped believing, there comes a time where we also have to make, kind of our own individual decisions on, how we make, these certain things happen, and how we, pay the bills, and how we, keep our own priorities top of mind. And so, I'm not sure what that looks like. It's not a fun decision for, the overall, but, the podcast will continue. It might look a little different with, how many days a week, or, the types of interviews or content we're able to put out. It might be a little bit, more of a delay in posting something, to Twitter or to Instagram. It might be a little bit, it might be a not as higher quality of video post-production that we post to our YouTube. But, I want people to know that it's not because I've lost faith. It's not because I don't care. It's not because I'm still, it's not that, I'm still just as bullish on the power of what we're building as I ever have been, maybe even more so at the moment, because I see great people doing great things, and I understand and I recognize great examples like the Starbucks examples and so many great projects that have connected great people. But the truth of the matter is, I also have to, make ends meet on, many different realms. And, the runway that we had built and the runway that we are working towards, was all in, in every way possible. And I don't regret that for a minute. And it's been one hell of a ride. And I know, what this has taught me personally, as far as what I'm capable of. Also just from a, listenership, and, so many of you that reach out and share your favorite episodes, and you tell me, how much stuff means to you. And so, I'll say that, if you're, struggling to work in Web3, if you're, questioning what your decisions were on what you've done, if you're someone that, desires to be a content creator, but, is still trying to figure out how to make all that work, know that you're not alone. And don't believe for a minute that everyone has all these answers. And there's exceptions to the rules. And there's people that are going to break the rules or bend the rules. But I think the truth of the matter is, if you're clear on what your own version of success is and you believe in what you're doing, then you'll find that path. You'll continue to grow. And that's kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm doing. And, I'm very blessed to have, a great inner circle and great circle of people around me. But I also know that, if it, where it comes to a point where I have to make certain decisions to, not only in what we're creating or the work that I'm doing, unfortunately, I think that will also have its own, residual effect. And I think that's probably a lesson it took me a long time to learn in, my 41 years of life, that, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And I'm a yes man for a lot of it, right? I'm a people-pleasing yes man. But that doesn't mean that that's a good thing. And in many cases, that those things that we have to say no to that we often don't see can oftentimes be the things that are, the fall off that we, kind of off our radar. And so, I would love, anyone that wants to, hit us up on social. You can also, email me directly, Fanzo at nft365podcast.com. So Fanzo at nft365podcast.com. If you have suggestions, ideas, if there's things that you would love to see me create or monetize around, if there's, things from, advising and consulting that you would love for me to be a part of, I'm open in all ears. And I say that as in, I will not, kind of blur the line. And there are some things that will be great projects and great collaborations. And, unfortunately, I feel, I end up turning down more things than I accept. And I know that's, partially just because, I'm a big believer in this shared success. And I'm not going to sign up for something that I don't believe will be, mutually beneficial for myself and my clients or those that I'm working with. But I also know that there are very few people in this space. There are very few people that have dedicated the time, the commitment that I have to learn, to grow, to understand what works and what doesn't work in this space. And that's not stopping anytime soon. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. And, we are just getting started together. We are going to continue to grow. And, for those that, may not have that connection, or, if you're just sharing out the podcast, or, writing a review, or maybe you can, if you're purchasing an AI art piece in your way of supporting, I just want to say thank you. I know that these times are tough for everybody. And I believe that, we all have to do what's in the best interest of ourselves. But, there is an element of every little bit helps. And I see you. I appreciate you. And I believe in each and every one of us to keep on keeping on. Until next time, my friends, make it a great day. Cheers.